Like the video and subscribe right now, and this doggo will help you with cleaning. Hello, my name is Karen. I'm messaging you today due to a new trend going around referring to a demeaning term used to degrade middle-aged white women. I'm part of a feminist movement called In Recent Months. I'm also doing a story on my page about this, and you're free to come look at it to get better educated on racism and its effects on society as a whole. I've looked at your group and observed the posts you make on your page, and frankly they're quite demeaning. I found it after my 24-year-old daughter started showing me people being Karens in public. Now, while I don't understand exactly the point of calling people Karen and feeling the need to think we are all a certain way and we complain about everything because we don't, I've noticed there are over 20,000 people in this group called No Karen and this page called Karen the Manager, which content is equally offensive. I've reported it as harassment as a whole to Facebook and left them my input and forwarded them Twitter posts where someone finally got tired of it and said enough is enough. I think you need to be a bit more sensitive as to who you are ultimately hurting here in the long run. Continuing this trend everyone follows on Facebook. This trend needs to end, so I'm asking you to change the topic of your group and name, otherwise I'm going to have to take action in a court of law to have it taken down and your content removed as it can be construed as racist to a certain extent. I will be asking my daughter to leave the group as it's highly disrespectful when I try to tell her something and all she says is I'm being a Karen. It's extremely frustrating. Thank you, have a nice day. Please speak English. Who the duck are you? I'm literally German. I will speak my language. How the duck am I supposed to read your tweets if they are in German? Go learn another language then. Usually my tweets don't revolve around you, so duck off. I think I'm done with being here. I get you people care for me, but after all the time, all events I have done, no one answers them anymore. I have needed the most help lately, posted about it, and it gets overlooked. I won't take being ignored anymore. I can't. I will be leaving, and if you don't like it then I am sorry for letting you down, but I won't be in a place that ignores me when I need help the most. I will one day come back, but for now I will be leaving tomorrow or Monday morning. Is she ducking serious? Like, no offense to any of you other people, but how narcissistic can you be to say that you need the most help out of people in a mental health server and that you're being ignored? Because no one is obligated to help people if they don't have the mental energy or the emotional capacity to help. If you need help, seek out a hotline. Talk to a parent or a therapist, not expect some random 16 to 20-year-olds on Discord to drop everything. That was a punch to the face, and I'm not even fond of them like that. As a man you should be able to afford this bill. $6,228.05. Rant of day. I'm so worried about what our world has come to these days. People have no manners or any decency anymore. Let me share with you what happened to me today at the QT on Highway 290. I was waiting in line behind another car to get gas. They had blocked pumps off. I got out and started to pump gas when two men in a large enterprise rental truck pulled behind me and said I broke in line. I had not seen them and had pulled behind a car who was pumping gas. I apologized and told him I'll be out of the way in a minute. If they were waiting, it was not apparent, as I had been waiting for around 5 minutes behind the previous car and it sure as hell didn't warrant what came next. The young driver and passenger both started screaming at me, telling me I was a piece shit, fat bitch. They hoped I died. He noticed my work badge and then said he hoped of it killed me. This verbal assault went on for a good 10 minutes. I told him if did not leave me alone I would call the police. He told me he was exercising his free speech. Finally a nice gentleman approached him and asked him if he would like to bully someone his own size. He then shut up. Hi, I saw your art and would really like to have some sent to me. Alright, would you like it on paper, printed, or would you like to have it as a commission on digital? On paper please. Alright, my prices start at $5 for uncolored, $10 for regular fully colored, $15 for large uncolored, and $20 for large fully colored. And then there is the $5 delivery fee. Oh, can it go any lower? For the regular fully colored one? Sorry, that's the least I'm charging. It's a lot less than what your average artist sells for. It's a bargain. I just don't have that much and need a fully colored one. But I don't want digital or printed. Digital and printed are $5. Why are they less expensive? Because digital art only takes half the time it takes me to do paper art. How long does it take for a fully colored one? On paper? Most likely an hour 30 minutes. $10 is too expensive. I'm happy to do the digital or printed one. That would be saving me time and saving you money. I want traditional art. Digital art is not true art. You are not really drawing. If that's your opinion, I'm happy to do an uncolored one. On paper of course. I want it colored. Then that's $10. It'll still be $10 even with uncolored because of the $5 delivery fee. You are so expensive. You're greedy for money. I assure you I'm not. And need some extra money. Drawing is my hobby. I'm not professional, which is why I price my art at what I think it is worth. $10 is what the fully colored ones are worth. I'm very sorry that I cannot charge the price. I can post your art on Instagram and TikTok. Will give you lots more followers than 200. I'm not doing it for exposure. I do art because I like drawing. I don't do it for retention. If you want to share my art, I'd be happy to let you, but I will not give you something that takes up my time in return. You're so selfish. Once again, I don't do it because I'm greedy for money. Then it should be free. I'm not giving away something I work hard on for free. I need money for things, but I'm not greedy with it. What do you need money for? School supplies, art supplies, and clothes. Can't your mom and dad do it for you? I live with my grandparents, who work at minimum wage. We have enough money for things like that, but I'm earning money with myself, so I don't need to rely on their paychecks. $10 is what I charge. Like I said, the average artists do it for much higher because they are professional, which I'm not. I'm happy to do cash or step banking. If you do not want the art no more or would like to downgrade to an uncolored piece, I'm very much happy to do so. Duck you. I'm sorry that you cannot afford it, but that is not my concern. I can afford it. I just don't want to pay for it. Then it is you who is selfish. I will report you. Please, go ahead. I assure you, Twitter does nothing with reports, and I did nothing wrong. So what exactly are you reporting? You're a scam. I did not scam you. I told you my prices, and you said no. That is not a scam. That is fair business. Have a nice day. Attention satanic socialists. This is the home of a patriotic Christian family. We work hard and pay taxes. We do not celebrate Satan's day. We do not give away free candy to lazy entitled freeloader. No handouts. Welcome to America. If you want candy, get a job and find Jesus. Here goes. Does anyone know someone, or is anyone willing to squeeze Dash's anal glands for us? Free meal in it for you. I know I could take her to the vet to get it done, but I don't wanna have to pay a big consult fee just for it. I've YouTube how to do it, but it grosses me out too much. Anyone? Some dog groomers will do it. Oh man. You're tighter than your dog's ass right now. Just pay for it. Who wants to have a feed after squeezing an asshole? So appetizing, ha ha ha. Drove all the way down to see Life to take. Was 3.03. The woman's like that. Nah, sorry, last entry 2.50. The poor Wayne's face. Could have honestly punched the lassie. We were willing to pay the money. If anybody was going to be losing out, it would have been us anyway. And she still wouldn't let us in. Absolutely ragin'. My girl is gutted. I wonder, does anyone else find the staff at Aldi's rude? Has anyone ever had to ask to have a register open? I do almost every time I'm in that store. This afternoon, I had 4 items to purchase. As usual, there was only one register open. The person in front of me had a carriage that was full and the cashier had already started to ring her out. It was going to be a while. Next to me, a young man was pricing something on the shelf. I think it was IPA beer or soda. At the front of the store was a young girl totally oblivious to the world, spraying and cleaning. I finally asked the young man if he could open another register please. He looked up at the woman in front of me at the full carriage and full belt of groceries being rung up and After about a 10-second pause, he never even looked at me. He says, "Oh, it won't belong," and returned to what he was doing. I took those 4 items and dumped them in the shelf and walked out. Clearly caring about customers is the last thing this store thinks about. I have never cared for this store for several reasons, and this kind treatment at the registers has happened before. I really do hate this store, and if this is a regular policy to treat customers so poorly, then I truly want no part of this store. You sent me a friend request a while ago, and I didn't get to send my personal boundaries. I will post them now here. Become a Patreon and/or follow on Wattpad. Note, write a comment on my Wattpad profile with your username to verify. You will either join one out of 3 tiers, if/when you choose to support on Patreon. Caution. Don't follow to stalk and/or lurk. Anyone who chooses to support via Wattpad instead of Patreon will be subject to removal without warning due to inactivity. Note, spamming stars without reading chapters is also highly unacceptable, dishonest, and rude. It is not tolerated. Anyone who becomes a follower must support a total of 3 books that resonate with them, then post comments after reading each chapter. Share/repost a written blog from my Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Anyone who agrees to these boundaries as listed above will automatically understand that they too will respect those of my fiancé as well. I will respect everyone for having their choice to either agree to my boundaries and/or not. Any/all who persist to follow and/or friend request without respecting my boundaries will be blocked immediately. Note, if you have your own personal boundaries, feel free to share them with me as I have given mine to you. Respect is a two-way street. However, please keep in mind that if/when I will/do not agree with/to your personal boundaries, there is no need to fuss. My energy does/will not always resonate with all. Caution. If my boundaries rattle your nerves, consider them well set. They are made to keep my peace, not yours. God bless you. Does this mean I have to follow your Wattpad to be your friend? Or support your Patreon IG? Yup. If anyone wishes to be my friend, they will have to support my Wattpad or my Patreon. Those are my personal boundaries. I respectfully appreciate knowing that people actually care about that, rather than there being no equal share. That's also why I tell people to share their boundaries too. Energy wise, I save those seats and give that much of mine back to who are in my inner circle. I mean, you're basically saying people need to pay you $10 a month to be your friend. That's kind of messed up. With boundaries, I politely understand who is and isn't in my soul tribe. Friendship shouldn't cost money. Don't care how it's going to make others feel. Wattpad is free. It's a choice. I don't tell people which to choose from. They do all on their own, respectfully. It's a ducked up choice. That's your opinion. These are my boundaries, not yours. They are meant to keep my peace, not yours. Jesus, sorry for thinking you're a cool person, I guess. My mistake. I'm cool. They're pretty unreasonable boundaries. I just don't need people taking advantage of my energy. Not really. You can read on Wattpad for free, or choose to pay on Patreon. But I also have to leave comments and read all your books. Either way, people who wish to be in my inner circle will always support and love me. 3 books, sorry. Yup, that's the point. I'll support you, but I'm not gonna do labor for you. This isn't how boundaries work. Support me by respecting my boundaries. That's how mine works, politely. I have no ill will towards you or anyone who doesn't. I just know what I'm aiming for with my inner circle, and anyone who's down to be in will respect all my boundaries or not be in my energy. You are ducking insane. Get help. Bye. And then I blocked him. EB accuses me of bumping into her car, calls cops, security cams show otherwise. This happened about an hour or 2 ago. Just got finished and calmed down enough. Ugh. On my way to work, I realized I needed to get some gas, so I go to my usual Chevron nearby. It was moderately busy this morning for whatever reason. This Chevron has 3 rows of double pumps and each pump is double-sided. I end up making a turn and reversing into one row, since most of the others are full with cars already. The row I reversed into, both the front and back pumps were empty, so of course I just take the front pump. Makes it easier to leave and allows someone from the other side to fill up at the rear pump if another customer comes. As I'm getting into position, brake and come to a full stop and literally a split second away from putting my car into park, I'm jolted forward. I immediately realized someone rear-ended me. This was not a 30 miles per hour rear end or anything, but also not like 2 miles per hour. I'm perfectly fine, so I park and get out to see what just happened. I'm met by EB, a roughly 250 pounds, 5 feet 2 inch psychopath who doesn't waste a breath screaming at me claiming I backed into her vehicle. I was totally caught off guard and stunned for a moment or two. My car, Lexus SUV, has a dented bumper. Her car, the bumper is completely fallen off her early 2000s Kia. I asked to trade insurance and she is just screaming nonsense about taking me to court and shit. She actually calls the cops when I told her she caused the accident and I was at a full stop. It was wild. The manager of the gas station eventually comes out to see the commotion and asks us both to just leave, but the EB won't give me her insurance and starts demanding money for repairs to her car. I know cops will never show up for this, and I'm about to just give up on insurance and whatnot when my lucky day, a random cop car pulls in. We wave him over, and each of us explain our side, and he's smart enough to ask gas station manager if there is security footage. No clue why I didn't think of that. Of course there is. The security cam is not the best quality, but it's sure damn good enough to confirm I was at a full stop with brake lights on. EB rams into me probably at 10 to 12 miles per hour, and she is on her phone. Cop decided not to issue a ticket, but forces her and I to trade insurance info, etc. and writes up a report for me. I will be getting copy of the security cam footage, recorded it on my phone just as a backup shortly and handed it off to my insurance to deal with at this point. By the end she was just completely silent, no longer a ranting and raving lunatic. If only she could have been a normal person from the start, this wasn't going to be a big deal. Pretty sure this will be a slam dunk for my insurance to collect and fix my car, and EB will be 100% at fault. Held in craft store 45 minutes after close. I work at an unnamed major craft supply retailer. A couple of weeks ago, we had the pleasure of meeting a woman who would ruin our night. It was 5 minutes to close, and this lady, we'll call her Sandy, comes in and grabs a cart. I'm up at the register and I tell her, hey, just so you know, you've got about 5 minutes. She's on the phone, so she ignores me, beelines it to the holiday section. I check out the rest of the customers in the store. It is now 5 minutes past close. My manager, another employee, and myself can hear her still talking on the phone in the seasonal area. I approach her and say, hey, just so you know, we are closed now. I can ring you up front. She tells the person on the phone that she has to go because someone is bitching at her because they are closed. 5 to 10 minutes later, she finally comes up to the register with a cartload of Christmas merchandise. It takes about 10 minutes to check her out because she wants to know the price of every single item and changed her mind about specific products multiple times. I finally finish and she heads out the door and we switch the door lock. We hear a shatter and look out the window. She dropped a glass item in the road between the lot and the store and just kept on walking. My coworker frustratedly goes outside and sweeps it up. I'm purchasing my items at this point, and we hear a banging on the door. Mind you, it's about 25 minutes past close at this point. The other employee opens the door, and Sandy is yelling that she thinks she left her keys in the store. At this point, it's a literal the ability to have a customer in the store. The other employee tells her this, and she screams that she's going to call the cops because her property is in the store. My manager calls the store manager, and he instructs us that we can let her in if we chaperone her around while she looks for her keys. She spends about 15 minutes looking in the seasonal pad. We are all looking with her, desperate to go home. She's crying and yelling at us for not letting her in right away. After searching the store, she tells us she's gonna look in the parking lot, so we wait for another 5 to 10 minutes. We look outside and she's sitting in her car with the engine on. We asked if she found her keys and she tells us they were on the ground next to her car. 45 minutes of my life for that. Oh, and she pushed her cart to the opposite side of the parking lot. Perhaps it's a stretch to call her an entitled bitch, but I'm not sure where else this story fits. Guy called the wrong store and demanded to talk to my manager. TLDR entitled. So today at my job I got a call from a customer in my department. We'll call him K and me M. M. Thank you for calling Store in Town Electronics. This is M. How can I help you? K. I ordered a warranty claim on a printer 2 weeks ago from your store and haven't heard anything back. M. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Unfortunately we don't handle warranty claims in the electronics department. Let me transfer you to the customer service desk so they can give you better information. K. Don't you ducking. Put me on hold. I was there 10 days ago and a manager in your department helped me do the warranty claim and told me to call back if it wasn't delivered in 2 weeks. I walked in the door and just to the left is the counter where I did it. M. I'm sorry, I'm confused. The only thing to the left of our front door when you walk in is a Starbucks. To the right is a customer service desk. Could that be where you went? K. I can't believe you're talking to me this way. You're going to get me a manager on the phone right ducking now. M. I'm sorry, I meant no disrespect. I'm just confused. Our electronics department is all the way in the back of the store. K. That's it. Give me your name and your store number. I'm reporting you to corporate. M. Gives name and the name of the store. K. This is store name. M. Yes sir. K. I meant to call Staples. Click. Then a person from the next department had to check on me because I was laughing so hard they thought I was screaming. Middle-aged woman expects me to pay rent for her and her daughter. I'm 23. F. Was 22 at the time. A non-traditional student joined my organization, probably in her 50s, and gave me a ride to an event because I can't drive. We got to talking and she talked about how broke she and her high school age daughter were. So on the way back, I bought them $100 worth of groceries. Happy to do it. The next day, she messages me with a huge favor. I tell her maybe. She asked me for $500 for her and her daughter's rent and said they'd be living in their car if I didn't pay it. The thing is, I'm not rich. I would not be able to afford my own rent if I paid this plus the groceries. I'm financially stable, but not rich. I ended up giving her $200 out of guilt and said that's all I could give her. 2 days later, I was in the hospital for an emergent procedure. I'm fine now, and she spams me with messages asking for $89. I told her I was on the operating table and couldn't respond, and that I just didn't have the money. She kept asking. I finally just asked her if she could ask someone else, because I just could not do it. She never once asked if I was okay, nor did she reply to my texts to pay me back. I'm a 23-year-old college student. I make an okay living on disability plus a PT job, supporting myself. Not this lady and her daughter. I used to be unable to afford food, so anything is a step up. Regardless, I would be unable to pay my own GD rent. I can't even drive, so I Uber to work. This woman does not work because she and her daughter only have one car. I had to get the president of the organization to force her to pay me back for the rent, at least. Karen traps herself in her own car and screams at us for it. This happened a few weeks ago now in South Africa. My friend, my mom and I went out caving and were busy with the drive and the caves for about 5 to 6 hours in total. Before we left though we dropped our pets off at a groomer since it takes super long to finish. Fast forward after the caves and we're completely haggard. We just wanna go home after a long ass day. So we drive to the groomers, park in the completely empty parking lot, and head inside. We're in there for maybe 10 minutes max before saying goodbye and going back to the car, only to find that someone was parked so close to it that the side mirrors were basically touching. Confused, I gave the woman a "what the duck are you doing" look, especially since the parking lot was still practically empty save for our 2 cars now. My mom had to back the car out so that my friend and I could even get into it, and that's when we realized that this dumbass actually trapped herself in her car because the moment we pulled away from her door she was out there like a rabid bat out of hell. She started screaming at us saying we trapped her for half an hour because we took up the parking lot with how we parked. I sarcastically looked around before pointing out around 5 empty parking lots. The more I pointed at the redder she got, at which point I said I know I'm probably half your age, but I think even I could park better than that. My mom and friend followed suit and all started asking her questions on where she got her license and if they could buy it there too. Eventually we got bored of her screaming about how urgently she needs to pick up the dog that she seemingly forgot about since she's been here for shouting at us instead. So we all rolled down our windows, collectively gave her the bird, and I told her she should maybe invest in glasses if she's unable to see the empty lots. I'm sure the poor groomer could hear this glorified tomato screaming blue murder at us because how dare we insult her when we forced her to park there. That's on buying your license, I suppose. Did makeup for free and got threatened with the police. Before of it, I was a makeup artist that did looks for events ranging from prom to weddings to just random out and about days. I still do makeup for myself regularly, but nowadays I rarely do event makeup for others. I still do take requests, but I need plenty of notice as my work schedule has always been wonky. Well, 3 years ago, a mutual friend requested I do her prom makeup. Since I was so new, I wasn't charging a lot. It truly was a hobby I did make money on. I told her okay, that'll be $25 and she agreed to hesitation. I did not require a down payment before the appointment as I had no issues before. Dave, her mom told me we had bills to pay. We'll get you next week. I understood and left it at that. I should not have been so trusting, but I had never been scammed before. It didn't seem possible. A week passed, and I sent a reminder that I still needed payment from them, and her mother went off on me, told me to stop harassing them, and real people have real problems, and not everyone can afford to get their makeup done. She then mentioned calling the police if I tried nagging her again. Eventually I just dropped it, because in the grand scheme of things, $25 wasn't worth the fight. Months pass and October hits. I was in between jobs, and this girl hits me up again to do her makeup for homecoming. I tell her I'll do it, but I doubled the cost and asked for a $20 down payment non-refundable. She agreed and I thought okay, at least if she cancels I have this. The time approaches when I'm supposed to leave my house and I message her to verify. She had booked someone else and didn't tell me until I asked 30 minutes before our appointment. I was disappointed but not surprised. I decided that was it and I was never going to work with her again. She then had the audacity to tell everyone I was threatening her family and I was pressing charges. Haven't heard from her in over 2 years now, but heard through the grapevine that she wanted my services again. Entitled Male Karen. I'm allowed to bring my aggressive German Shepherd, Issa, anywhere. Just happened about 15 minutes ago. I usually avoid dumb people, but my disabled kiddo has been very extra, so I'm mentally exhausted and my filter is gone. Plus I'm extremely done with people being shitty and being rewarded for their shittiness. So yeah. Male Karen had an aggressive German Shepherd in the Dollar Tree up the street and the cashier was asking him to not bring it in the store because it was growling and pulling at the leash next to another customer. Karen keeps trying to yell at him saying it's an emotional support dog and I'm allowed to bring it anywhere. I have papers. Cashier keeps asking him where the dog was trained. Karen keeps saying I'ma bring you my papers, but absolutely just refuses to just leave. Like 5 minutes of this bullshit and I chime in. Dude, Nisa is not a service dog. You can't bring that dog in here. He gets all aggro. Who are you? Someone who spent 5,003 years having a real service dog trained for my handicapped child. Your dog ain't ducking legally allowed in a businesses, especially this one, where the employee is actively and politely asking you to leave. He started to walk back, and I pulled my phone out. Unfortunately didn't get to record anything, so of course he started recording me. I can record too. I'ma bring the paperwork in now. Dude, that's fine, but I'm telling you that what you're doing is not legally permitted. So he walked outside in a huff and then peeled out after a minute, presumably because he finally read his paperwork and realized I was correct. I ducking hate these people. Don't know if this fits here, but I ordered an Uber. The girl arrived and then she turned her way around and currently is 3:17 and she is going further away, almost 20 minutes away. If I cancel it, Uber charges me for the amount of time she is taking. So duck my life. I needed to get to work. I've arrived. Can't find you. You are at the other side. You are getting further away, would you mind cancelling? You were right here and you went away. Worst experience in a restaurant ever. After driving up from Eau Claire and flying in from Los Angeles, we were thrilled to go to see the sights on Mother's Day, only to have our Sunday ruined by the rudest bartender. Shortly after we were seated, a bold bartender took our drink order and we asked about the drinking rules for my daughter who turns 21 in a month. He acted if I just slapped him in the face. He then served my sister, 48, a drink, and she let my daughter have a sip, just to test the flavor of the fruit. I was about to taste the drink as well. I do not drink, when the bartender stomped over, ripped the drink from my hand, and told us we had to leave. He kicked 3 ladies out on Mother's Day. We were about to spend $150 on their very limited menu. He was aggressive and rude, and absolutely over the top. We will never enter this establishment again. Featured comment. Michael Martin. Huh, he's probably thinking about other women. If Satan is punishing bad people, does that make him the good guy?